Ladies and gentlemen, in a world obsessed with likes, followers, and instant validation, the temptation to announce every goal, every move, and every tiny victory is stronger than ever. But true success doesn't grow in the spotlight, it develops in the shadows. The most powerful progress is made when no one is watching, when the only applause comes from your own persistence, and when the only audience is your future self. Working hard in silence is not about hiding, it's about focusing. It's about channeling your energy into results instead of wasting it on proving yourself to others too soon. The loudest people are often the least accomplished, while those who move quietly, steadily, and relentlessly build empires. When you work in silence, there's no pressure to meet anyone else's timeline, no distractions from doubters, and no risk of losing momentum because of early praise. Instead, every day you add another brick, another layer, another step forward, until one day, your results speak so loudly that the world has no choice but to notice. Remember, a tree grows its strongest roots underground, hidden from view, before it ever reaches toward the sky. You are no different. Focus on your craft, perfect your skills, and commit to the grind without broadcasting every move. Let your work be your voice, because when you finally reveal what you've been building, it will not be a whisper, it will be an earthquake. Thank you. 10 key points. Work hard in silence. Silence protects your vision. Sharing too early invites unnecessary opinions and doubt. Results speak louder than words. People remember achievements, not promises. Avoid distractions from outside noise. Focusing inward builds stronger discipline. Work without seeking validation, self-approval, is more powerful than external praise. Consistency is the real power. Quiet daily effort beats occasional loud bursts. Silence eliminates competition pressure. You move at your pace, not theirs. Growth happens out of sight like roots underground. Progress is invisible before it blooms. Actions inspire more than announcements. People respect proof over talk. Energy goes into creation, not self-promotion. The work gets done faster and better. Success becomes undeniable when you finally show the results. They shock everyone. When you have a dream or a goal, it's like holding a delicate seed in your hands. At that early stage, it's fragile. It needs protection, nourishment, and the right environment to grow. Sharing your vision too soon, before it has developed strong roots, can expose it to winds of doubt, criticism, or even jealousy. Not everyone will understand what you're trying to build. And many people, sometimes without even realizing it, can plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Those seeds can grow into hesitation, fear, or second-guessing yourself. Silence becomes your shield. It creates a protective barrier between your vision and the world's noise. When you keep your plans to yourself, you keep control over your narrative. There's no outside pressure to prove anything before you're ready. You're not weighed down by questions like, when will you finish? Or are you sure that will work? Instead, you move in your own time, at your own pace, with your focus fully intact. There's also a psychological benefit to working quietly. Studies show that when people announce their goals publicly, they often feel an early sense of satisfaction, as if they've already accomplished something. This can drain the motivation to actually follow through. In silence, there is no premature reward, no false sense of accomplishment. All the satisfaction comes from real progress, not from talking about progress. Think of legendary innovators, athletes, and leaders, Many of them didn't talk endlessly about their goals. They worked in the shadows until their work was undeniable. The late night hours, the countless practice sessions, the research, the trial and error, all of it happened away from the spotlight. When they finally revealed what they had built, it seemed sudden to the world, but they knew it had been years in the making. Protecting your vision also means protecting your energy. Every conversation about your plans takes energy that could have been used to take action. Silence keeps you from wasting time defending your dreams to people who aren't even part of your journey. In short, keeping quiet is not about secrecy. It's about security. It's about giving your dreams the space to grow strong enough to survive in the real world. Once they're ready, they'll speak for themselves, and no amount of doubt can erase the results you've built in private. In a world where almost everyone is talking, posting, and declaring what they're going to do, the rarest and most powerful thing you can do is let your actions speak for you. Words can be persuasive, but results are undeniable. People can debate opinions, but they cannot argue with proof. When you deliver something tangible, whether it's a finished project, a new skill, a business, or a transformed version of yourself, you instantly silence critics and earn respect without ever needing to demand it. Talking about what you will achieve often creates expectations you may not be ready to meet. It invites others to measure your progress before you've even laid your foundation. But when you work silently and present only the finished product, there is no gap between promise and reality. You simply show what you've done, and the results do all the talking. Results have a special kind of credibility because they're visible, measurable, and real. If you say you're disciplined, that's just a claim. But if you've built a strong, healthy body, started a thriving business, or mastered a craft, that's living evidence. People trust what they can see and experience more than what they hear. And when your achievements speak for you, they carry a weight that words never can. Think about it. When you see someone quietly working for months or years and then suddenly unveiling something extraordinary, it leaves a stronger impression than someone who constantly announces their plans without delivering. The element of surprise amplifies the impact. People remember the moment they were caught off guard by greatness. Also, results build momentum in a way that words cannot. Every achievement, no matter how small, fuels your confidence and inspires others to believe in you. And that belief is far more valuable when it's earned through proof rather than persuasion. When you show what you've accomplished, it inspires trust and admiration, not because you asked for it, but because you demonstrated why you deserve it. At the core, this is about substance over style. Talking might make you sound impressive for a moment, but results make you unforgettable for a lifetime. When you have results, you never need to convince anyone of your worth. They will see it for themselves, and that speaks louder than anything you could ever say. In today's hyperconnected world, outside noise is everywhere. It's in the constant scroll of social media feeds, in the opinions of friends and family, in the endless comparison to people you've never even met. If you're not careful, all that noise can drown out your own inner voice, the one that actually knows where you're going. Working hard in silence is one of the most effective ways to protect yourself from this chaos, because it keeps your attention locked on the task at hand, instead of on what everyone else is saying or doing. Outside noise often comes disguised as harmless conversation or a helpful advice. Someone might question your plans, not out of malice, but because they don't see your vision the way you do. Over time, enough of these comments can chip away at your confidence. You might start second-guessing decisions, slowing your progress, or worse, abandoning your goal altogether. Silence is your shield. It ensures that your work environment, even if it's just in your mind, stays clean and free from unnecessary interference. Another form of outside noise is comparison. When you're constantly watching what others are doing, it's easy to lose sight of your own pace and path. You might feel pressure to match their achievements, copy their strategies, or rush your process. This is dangerous because comparison rarely tells the full story. You see the highlight reel of someone else's journey, but not the failures, sacrifices, or struggles they endured behind the scenes. By keeping your head down and working quietly, you reduce the temptation to measure yourself against anyone else. Your focus stays on your progress, your growth, and your timeline. The digital world has also created a trap where people feel the need to update their progress every step of the way. While this may seem like a staying relevant, it actually invites more noise. Likes, comments, unsolicited opinions, and the subtle pressure to keep posting even when you should be working. Every time you pause to share, you break your flow. Every time you read reactions, you shift your focus from doing the work to managing how others perceive it. That's time and mental energy you can't get back. Silence, on the other hand, creates a bubble of concentration. It's a space where your only competition is yourself, where you can refine your skills without distraction, and where your mind is free from the constant buzz of outside influence. In that bubble, ideas flow more freely, solutions appear more clearly, and the work moves forward faster. By intentionally avoiding outside noise, you also learn to trust yourself more. You become your own compass, making decisions based on your values and vision rather than on fleeting trends or peer pressure. That level of self-trust is rare and powerful because it makes you resilient. Even when the world around you gets loud, you can still hear the quiet certainty that tells you to keep going. One of the most dangerous traps in the pursuit of success is the constant craving for validation. Authentication. It's human nature to want recognition. We all like to feel seen, appreciated, and acknowledged. But when your motivation relies too heavily on other people's approval, you give away control over your own drive. Your momentum becomes dependent on external praise, and the moment it disappears, so does your energy to keep going. Working without seeking validation means shifting your focus from being actually a building. It's about pouring your energy into the work itself, not into making sure people notice you doing it. When you remove the need for immediate recognition, you free yourself to work with pure intent because you're doing it for the result, the growth, and the fulfillment it brings you, not for applause. There's also psychological danger in early praise. When you talk about your goals and receive positive feedback before you've achieved them, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical reward you get when you actually accomplish something. That earlier feel-good moment can trick your mind into thinking the work is already done, reducing your drive to follow through. In other words, validation without results can sabotage your progress before it even starts. When you stop chasing approval, you also avoid the emotional roller coaster of public opinion. Praise feels good, but it's temporary. Criticism can sting, but it's often unavoidable. If you rely on either one too much, your motivation becomes unstable. One negative comment can slow you down, and one burst of praise can make you complacent. True resilience comes from detaching your work from the need for validation altogether. Look at some of the most accomplished people in history. They didn't build their legacy by asking for constant reassurance. They worked quietly, fueled by their own standards of excellence. They weren't creating to be liked. They were creating to be great. And when their work was finally revealed, it demanded respect because it was rooted in mastery, not in a performance for others. By working without seeking validation, you also strengthen your internal satisfaction. You learn to take pride in your effort, your discipline, and your progress regardless of whether anyone else notices. This shift in mindset turns the process itself into the reward. You no longer need someone to tell you you're doing well. You know you are because you can feel yourself growing stronger, smarter, and more capable with every step forward. When you remove the hunger for constant validation, you remove the leash that others can pull. You are no longer working for likes, comments, or applause. You are working for results. And that makes you unstoppable, Lord. When it comes to achieving greatness, talent may give you a head start, but consistency is what carries you across the finish line. Consistency is the quiet, persistent force that transforms small daily actions into massive long-term results. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, and it's rarely celebrated in the moment, but it's the single most important ingredient in any form of lasting success. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they fail to show up day after day, especially when the excitement fades. In the beginning, it's easy to feel motivated. The vision is fresh, the goal is inspiring, and the energy is high. But as time passes, that initial fire can cool. This is where most give up. When progress is slow, when results are invisible, when the grind feels endless. Those who keep going, even in those silent, unglamorous moments, are the ones who eventually succeed. Consistency compounds like interest in a bank account. Every single day you put in the work, even if the progress is tiny, you are adding to a foundation that grows stronger and more stable. One workout won't make you fit, but a year of disciplined training will change your body. One day of reading won't make you wise, but a year of study will sharpen your mind. The small actions may seem insignificant in isolation, but together, over time, they become unstoppable momentum. The problem is that we often underestimate how much power there is in sticking to the process. People want shortcuts. They want instant results. They want to skip the long, slow, sometimes boring road that success demands. But the truth is, those who learn to embrace the repetition, the daily showing up, the steady improvement, the refusal to quit, are the ones who build something that actually lasts. Consistency is also a great equalizer. You don't have to be the most talented, the smartest, or the most connected. The smartest or the most connected. If you are the one who keeps showing up long after others have quit, you will eventually surpass them. The quiet worker who never stops is far more dangerous than the talented one who can't sustain effort. And here's the hidden beauty of consistency. It builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself to work, even when it's inconvenient, you strengthen your own self-belief. You begin to see yourself someone who follows through, someone who can be counted on. That identity becomes fuel, making it even easier to keep going. Success is rarely about massive leaps forward. It's about the accumulation of tiny steps, taken over and over again without fanfare, without announcement, and without quitting. That's the real power. One of the most overlooked benefits of working quietly is that it frees you from the weight of competition pressure. The moment you publicly announce your goals, whether in conversations or on social media, you unintentionally step into an invisible race. People start comparing your progress to theirs, and you start comparing yourself to them. Suddenly, your journey is no longer about your personal growth. It's about a keeping up. That constant comparison can drain your focus, distort your priorities, and push you to rush a process that should unfold at its own pace. When you work in silence, you step out of that race. There is no scoreboard, no timeline you have to match, and no crowd watching your every move. You create a private space where the only competition is with the version of yourself from yesterday. This shift changes everything. Without the pressure to outperform others, you can fully focus on improving your skills, refining your craft, and building something authentic instead of something designed to beat someone else. Competition pressure often creates unnecessary stress because it forces you to measure your progress by someone else's milestones. But you don't know their full story. You don't see the years they might have been working before you started, the resources they had access to, or the sacrifices they made. Comparing yourself to someone with completely different circumstances is like comparing a seed to a fully grown tree. It's unfair and unproductive. Silence removes this trap because it keeps your progress private. Nobody knows exactly where you are in your journey, so there's no expectation for you to be somewhere else. You can take as much time as you need to do the job right. This freedom allows you to avoid shortcuts that might look good in the short term, but harm you in the long run. You're not chasing quick wins to prove you're moving fast. You're building a solid foundation that will last. Another benefit is that silence protects you from sabotage, intentional or unintentional. In competitive environments, some people may try to discourage you, distract you, or even copy your ideas before you can bring them to life. When you keep your work to yourself until it's ready, you maintain control. No one can interfere, slow you down, or pressure you into decisions you're not ready to make. By eliminating competition pressure, you give yourself the gift of focus. You can work at the pace that feels right, without the mental noise of comparison and rivalry. This doesn't mean you're ignoring what others are doing. It means you're not letting their progress dictate yours. The real win is not in being first to the finish line. It's in crossing it with something you're proud of, built on your terms, in your own time. In the end, working hard in silence is about power. Not the kind that shouts to be noticed, but the kind that moves quietly and changes everything when it arrives. It's the discipline to keep going when no one is watching, the patience to grow without applause, and the confidence to let your results speak for themselves. The world doesn't need to see every step you take. It only needs to see the masterpiece when it's finished. So keep your head down, protect your vision, and give everything you have to the work. One day when you finally lift the curtain, the impact will be so strong, that no amount of words could ever match it. Let your silence be your strategy. Let your results be your voice. Share your voice.